The campaign group Age UK says that older people in some retirement developments are being financially exploited. It's claimed they're being charged too much for maintenance, insurance and even for selling their properties. Susanna Streeter has the details.
In leafy Newbury, 80-year-old Stanley Hodges was hoping for a quiet retirement. Instead, he and his wife were drawn into a legal battle over excessive fees in their privately managed block.
If I was a lot younger, it would be a lot easier. But at our age, it is traumatic, it's frustrating.
They own the leasehold to their flat but have to pay an annual service charge to the freehold company. It costs £2,500 and covers maintenance, security, insurance and the rent for an on-site manager's flat. But 2 years ago, Stanley found the costs had been unfairly calculated.
When one compares the charges that they wanted for the house manager's flat here as compared with the charges that you pay for other two-bedroom flats in the town of Newbury, they were just ridiculously overpriced. And this is the court judgment.
Eventually, the freeholder agreed with residents to reduce the charge, but Mr Hodges still had to go to court to get the refund of just under £500 for his share of the charge. There are currently around 200,000 older people living in private retirement developments. For many, the extra support and security available is ideal, and demand for this type of accommodation is increasing as our population ages. In the next 30 years, the number of people aged 75 and over is set to double. But as complaints mount about unfair service charges and fees, Age UK says this whole sector needs much better regulation. It says limits should be set on how much a landlord can charge for a manager's flat. There should be greater transparency for service charges. And it says transfer fees charged when residents sell their flats should be abolished. The group claims that in other cases it's come across people are afraid to raise their concerns with their management.
People have contacted us and they've said that it's very difficult to make a complaint because there can be all sorts of pressures if you do so. It can be all sorts of psychological pressures. So it can be very difficult to make a complaint, very intimidating.
There is a code of practice advising how managing agents should operate, but it's not binding.
We'd like to see it a requirement that everyone is obliged to follow the code of practice and to be a member of an organisation like the ARHM.
The government says it wants to ensure residents are protected from unscrupulous landlords, but it believes there's a need to strike a balance between tenants' rights and landlords' responsibilities, and says that the current legislative framework can deliver that balance. But those who've been forced to take their case to a tribunal or court say it's a daunting task. Susanna Streeter, BBC News.